Thanks for your time today, Coach. The depth chart that just came out, Kamari Moulton at RB1 is probably the splashiest update there. Sort of how has he ascended to that spot, and what are you looking to see from guys like Le'Shawn and Caleb?
Yeah, I figured that might get everybody's attention, but it's more a byproduct of what's going on. Two things, really. LeSean's missed some time. He's had an injury that nagged pretty much throughout camp. So Kamari got a lot of work this August. And the other component there is Kamari's really done a nice job. And I think I kind of mentioned that or alluded to that back in December. Even he really started to look comfortable and did a lot of good things, did a good job in the spring. And, has really just been really consistent all the way through August. So they're all going to play, but he's really done a nice job. LeSean's only been back, maybe 8-10 days, and it looks like he's good. He's good to go. But it was just he had a really long, nagging injury. It just took a while to get worked through. But happy he's back. The other guys have done a good job too. So really, I feel pretty good about the group. But anxious to see him play, and Kamari especially. We haven't really seen him go in game activity.
Tyler and then John.
Kirk, Tyler Tashman with the Des Moines Register. I think this offseason you alluded to Michael Penix Jr. in the context of Cade, and Michael Penix was someone that had major surgical repairs and came back, and was not that those two guys are exactly the same, but can you just kind of expand on maybe the context of how you see guys coming, the ability to come back from multiple major injuries?
Right. Yeah, I'll put it in the context that, I've sat in a lot of meetings, academic or medical meetings and academic meetings, but a lot of medical meetings since, 26 years now. We had one last night. So I don't pretend to know anything about medicine, but, you listen and you pay attention, and then also you witness things. And I can go back just the contrast between the 80s, 90s, and now, the way all injuries are different now. Certainly an ACL repair is much, much different than it was 40 years ago. Labral surgeries have come a long way. Most of them are arthroscopic. So the bottom line is this, ACL repairs, it's our experience that, it just takes time to get them back. And Cohen came back, Entringer came back from his in record speed. That's at one end of the spectrum. Sometimes they're slower. I think they're different for every individual, just like any injury. And but the bottom line is, a player has to get confidence in his body and confidence that he can do what he has to do to perform whatever his position may be. So, it's, I don't want to say routine, nothing's routine medically, but it'd be really unusual for a player to be, I think, deterred from an injury like what Cade had. And it was a very clean repair. Again, I'm no expert on medicine, but, it's always good when they say everything was clean, really nice repair and that type of thing. Then it's just a matter of time for the physical component, and then also, where a player gets the confidence. And I think it was that open scrimmage was really the first time I saw him look like, he just kind of put it aside, and then we've seen a lot of those pictures since then. So I think he's more than ready to go and really confident in his body.
John, WC there, is that obviously a little different this week with you not being there on Saturday? How do you kind of prepare for that, and what's kind of your approach at that wide receiver spot in terms of who's spending most time with that?
Yeah, so a couple things. Those are things we're working through this week and really haven't talked much about it. We'll start that tomorrow, and then Thursday's our day to really kind of, talk about all those things. Yeah, I did think of one good thing about this. At least I can blame if, something happened Saturday and just say, I don't know why they did that. So maybe there was a positive here in this whole deal. But in all seriousness, no, I think it's going to be pretty much business as usual. Tim would be the guy I go to refer on, what do you think about this and this on offense? Phil, LeVar, and, Seth will do the same thing. We talk about a lot of things on Thursdays about what we do, four down territory, all those kinds of things, this situation, that situation. But the only missing part is, when you get in a game, sometimes there's a feel that flies in the face of maybe what you decide on Thursday, and sometimes you just got to make a call and go with a gut instinct. So, if that'd be the case, Seth will do a great job with that. He will have the final say on all that stuff, but we'll talk a lot of those things out, and then the receiver thing will work out internally. As I said last week, we got a really good staff, and the guys, young and old, the full-time coaches, but also the GAs, part-time guys, and we'll get it done. We'll cover that.
David and Chad.
David Eichel, HawkeyeInsider.com. Kirk, TJ Hall listed as cornerback 2. There's no doubt that John Nestor is probably going to get some significant time, and Deshaun Lee. But what were maybe one or two things that ultimately gave TJ Hall kind of that, maybe just that extra little edge over the other two?
Probably just a little bit of consistency, and it's gone back and forth. It's a little bit like the running back position. Difference is that most of those guys have been available. The four corners have been competing and practicing, so probably a little consistency thing, but it's still really close. We have a lot of positions right now where, we got to start somewhere Saturday and start somewhere this week when we practice with our first team. But I will say this, it won't surprise me, especially in certain groups where it may take a month to figure out like where we're at. And I say that in a positive way because I think we have a lot of young guys right now that, we're going to learn a lot more about them. John Nestor's a good example. He hasn't played an awful lot. We've seen him on special teams. So to see him in game action, I think we'll learn a lot about him. I think our receiver room's a lot like that. The back thing will probably sort itself out, but I think we've got guys that are capable. So that's part of the process here as we move forward, and just it'll be interesting to see what it looks like here 6 weeks from now as opposed to just this Saturday.
Chad Lystico, Des Moines Register. You've been at this for 25 years at Iowa, 28 in total as a head coach. In your opinion, what are the most important jobs for the head coach on game day itself? I know you're probably going to give a self-deprecating answer.
Yeah, no.
But no, seriously, what is Seth like for Seth? What does he need to do the best on Saturday?
I'm laughing because they're chuckling. He gave me a report on what I do. There's more there than I thought, I guess, because you just kind of, you just kind of do what's natural in your position. But yeah, I guess some of the decisions we talked about are part of it. But if you think about it over the course of 12 weeks, there aren't that many decisions you make and that are really critical, I don't think. But you just try to keep things in an even flow. I think probably try to keep everybody's mood or approach in an even flow too. And if we're getting a little bit higher here or down here, you've got to try to balance things out a little bit and just try to make sure everybody's focused on what they do. But really, in all seriousness, I don't mean this to low-key it, but it's probably what you do during the week is more important, I think, and then certainly during camp and just year-long, just trying to make sure everybody's kind of keeping their eyes on the target, what we think is important. And once you get to game day, I say this in all honesty, the players do win the games. They're the ones out there competing. We can't do that. There are times when we maybe do something that's helpful, but overall, it's how the players play. It really is. So, they'll do great. I mean, we've got a good leadership group here, and they'll do great. But there's going to be some challenges. There's no question about that. And there are going to be some things that we don't expect. So we just got to, kind of stay centered and just stay on course here.
Owen.
Owen Seaburn, KGN. I saw that Cade Pieper is the backup center right now. He's a guy who's received a lot of praise from his fellow offensive linemen. Yep. Is that where he's firmly entrenched now, is just at center, or would we see him anywhere else on the O-line?
Yeah, he can play anywhere on the interior, and that's a good question because it kind of opens up we do have some flexibility this year, which is kind of nice going into this. We've trained him a lot or worked him a lot at the center position. Logan's not going to be here forever, so he's really done a good job there. But Tyler jumped in last year. Ellsbury jumped in and did a really nice job. Tyler's worked all 5 positions, and it's not often you can say a guy can do that, but I think he can do that pretty effectively. He's got a lot of experience and practiced well. Nick Young's got the capability of playing a couple spots. So, those would be our top 8 guys with the 5 starters. And, I think we probably have a little bit more versatility and flexibility than we've had in the past, which is good. And we've got some younger guys that are moving along, and we're going to try to keep them growing too. But, yeah, those would be the top 8 guys. And, yeah, Cade's he's quote-unquote undersized when we recruited him. But he was just a lean guy, and he's still lean. But he's really done a good job, and he's done a really nice job on the field.
John Sears, WHO TV. Kirk, when you have a new offensive coordinator, new offensive schemes, what are some realistic expectations for you as the head coach as you enter game 1?
It's like every game. I mean, you just want things to go smoothly, and you want the flow of things to be good. Things that stop offenses are negative yardage plays, unforced errors, penalties, false starts, those kinds of things, alignment errors. So just, playing fundamentally sound that way would be a good starting point. Keeping the ball off the ground is always a good thing. And then, regardless of what you're doing, there are going to be some things that are going to pop up and some things we're trying to get cleaned up in practice right now. We had Saturday off. Sunday we didn't do any football stuff. We just let the guys stretch and jog a little bit. So we got back into football again yesterday, and we took 2 whole days off without helmets on, and looked like we hadn't practiced in 6 weeks. So it's all of a sudden you're right back to trying to get the guys in there. Plus you're trying to deal with some things that maybe you haven't seen. So, but all that being said, I think just good effort, obviously playing fundamentally sound and not doing things that are going to beat us. That's a good starting point. And if we can get a little momentum going and get hit a couple of plays, that's always a good thing too. It's usually what it takes for offensive production.
Blake
Hornsey, Hawkeye headquarters. Coach, good to see you. It feels like as far as level-headedness goes, you have a unique approach to every single game. You treat every single game the same, whether it's an FCS team or, say, Georgia 3 years ago. You guys treat every game as a unique challenge. As a coaching staff, how do you uniquely motivate your players every single week to treat every single game the same?
I mean, with all due respect, I just explained to our guys, like the people that think they know what's going to happen, most of them don't have to go out and compete. So, I think whoever it was, somebody said, experts are people that aren't accountable to anybody. And, so it's good to be an expert, I guess. But we got a lot invested. Everybody's got a lot invested. And one thing I've learned, 20 plus years of being back here, and, it's no different in the NFL, although in the NFL, everybody's in the NFL. But, if everything starts with respecting your opponent. In college football, anything can happen. Last weekend already illustrated that, or at least 2 games, I think, that went, opposite of what people would have predicted. So it's just the nature of college football. And we're talking about young people. They got a lot on their minds and a lot that they got to deal with. They do go to class. They're trying to earn a degree. And, if you're not careful, you can get off the track and lose the concentration that's necessary to be good at this level. And, winning is hard.